NASCAR. The Charlotte Hornets owner is pairing up with Denny Hamlin to start a new NASCAR team, and Bubba Wallace will be the squad's first driver. Jordan is excited to team with the only black driver at the top level of NASCAR, writing in a statement, "I see this as a chance to educate a new audience and open more opportunities for black people in racing." Shannon, what was your reaction when you first heard this news?
I was a little surprised, but then you think about it, and Michael Jordan, he's Michael Jordan, Skip, and as he mentioned, this is an opportunity for him to educate and maybe get more eyes into NASCAR. Skip, I grew up, being from rural South Georgia, NASCAR was big in the black community where I grew up at. And I knew all the drivers. So I grew up with Bobby and Donnie Allison. I remember when Cale Yarborough and Bobby Allison got in the fight in '79 at Daytona, and Richard Petty won the race. And so I heard Harry Gant, the Skull Bandit, and David Pearson, the Silver Fox. So we watched it. My brother and my sister and I, we used to watch Talladega. We used to watch Daytona. So I'm very familiar.
It's so weird to me because you had nobody to identify with.
Zero. And I knew, Skip, I knew the Johnson brothers, the Wood brothers. I knew the owners. I knew, and as a guy older, I knew Rick Hendricks and Jack Roush and all those. Joe Gibbs got into racing. So I'm very familiar. And Michael Jordan is looking at like, well, hold on, wait a minute. Denny Hamlin is a brand Jordan athlete.
And they're very close.
Very close friend. And Skip, Michael Jordan is from Wilmington, which is on the coast.
It is.
Charlotte is the home. Well, actually, a lot of these drivers are based out of Kannapolis and Mooresville. How do I know? Because I went to Kannapolis and got my 2 Pomeranians, and I drove and it said home of NASCAR.
Yeah.
And so I'm very familiar with how these things operate.
Yep.
And so it seems like a natural progression.
Well, Charlotte's just a hotbed.
Right. It's have a big race there.
Yep.
The NASCAR Hall of Fame is in Charlotte. And so this is Michael Jordan's from North Carolina. He's born and bred. So he knows, and having him, Skip, this is not just anybody. This is Michael Evan Jordan. Mm-hmm. Arguably still one of the most recognizable faces, names in all the world.
All the world.
And so for him, it's like, you know what? I'm gonna start a NASCAR team. Skip, now he has a fishing team. He used to have a motorcycle team.
He did.
And so, when I sat back and I thought, I was like, man, Michael Jordan. But then you're like, okay, he says he wants to educate. He wants to get more. He wants people to open up. And this is a very good look for NASCAR because of what their history was.
Sure. And
what they're trying to get away from.
Well, he said in his statement, historically, NASCAR has struggled with diversity. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a nice way to put it.
That's a very nice way to put it. Yeah. And so for him and to get Bubba Wallace, I think it was a natural that if Michael Jordan is getting into NASCAR.
Well, how great is it he was available?
And I think he might have made himself available also.
That sounded like it, right?
So, Skip, I'm happy. I'm really happy. And Michael Jordan, Skip, over the last 5-6 years, now I'm sure there have been things that Michael has done in the behind the scenes, but Michael has been more out front.
Yep.
With social issues, with diversity issues, with equality. And so for me, I'm happy. And for us, because, NASCAR's right here on Fox, so maybe, I'll get an opportunity when this COVID is, I get an opportunity to go see a race or something.
Yeah? Do a little commentary, maybe?
Hell, they had your boy up in the booth for a little bit,
Unfortunately, Michael Jordan's now an owner, and he might nix that because you have been so hard on him on this show.
No, that's not hard.
You say LeBron James is the GOAT?
Okay, that's okay. That's okay, Skip.
You can watch, but you can't participate.
No.
All right. So when I heard this, I was like, God, match made in NASCAR heaven. Mm-hmm. I couldn't make this up any better than this match made in NASCAR heaven. Because obviously, Bubba Wallace, for all the wrong reasons, became a household name.
Yes.
He became a nationally sympathetic figure because of the noose controversy, and he handled it beautifully. And because of that, he's right on time to have a new big brother, and Michael Jeffrey Jordan as the owner. And there's a little loophole here that they had to walk through, which is Denny Hamlin's a part of the ownership, but he's still going to race, because he's not the majority owner.
Correct.
So that works. And obviously, Denny Hamlin's so close to MJ that he even represents Jordan Brand shoes. He wears them when he races.
Yes.
Okay, great. He has been a fixture at Charlotte Hornet games, courtside, almost like being their Jack Nicholson. There's so much. Yep. And they're golf buddies, so it's a powerful connection with Denny Hamlin.
Yes.
I think it's going to be an even more powerful connection with Bubba Wallace.
Yes.
So what did I see as I watched a guy I know fairly well in Michael Jordan during the Last Dance episodes? What were they? Eight episodes.
Well, it was a 10 episodes, 5 two-part series.
10 episodes? Yeah. I think it was 8. Okay, 10.
10 hours.
Okay. So what did I see in the man that I knew in 1998 during the Last Dance? I saw a certain wistfulness in him. I saw a little bit of a sadness in him. I saw some regret. I might have even sensed a little bit of guilt in that he did not give back while he was a player. And for the longest time, once he was an ex-player. He's taken a lot of heat for that, deservedly so.
Correct.
Some from you. And you're right. Everybody is right who has criticized him for where are you? You're the most powerful voice and figure in all of sports. And where are you when it comes to supporting your community? Well, pretty much nowhere. He just stayed out of the fray until recently. Then he dedicated, what was $100 million from Jordan Brand, okay, over a 10-year period.
Right.
And day after day, he does something else and then something else and something else. And this is another way for him to help NASCAR by giving back to NASCAR.
Right.
To me, it could be a beautiful thing. It also could help Michael on another front. As you pointed out, he owned an AMA Superbike team for the longest time, and nobody really knew much about it. But he won 1 race in 10 years with the Superbikers. Not great.
No.
And just to point out, because I am objective about him, greatest player ever in any sport, greatest competitor ever. But when it comes to owning and operating, managing a basketball team, Charlotte, he has run for 14 seasons now. They have 3 playoff appearances in 14 seasons, and everybody always says it's so easy to make the NBA playoffs. 3 times, and he's never won a playoff series. The first 2 times were 2010 and 2014. He got swept in the first round by the Magic, then he got swept by the Heat, and then they had 1 7-gamer with the Heat in 2016. So that brought his record. They lost, obviously. That brings his playoff record in Charlotte as the overseer to 3-12.
Right.
Never has won a single playoff series. Well, to me, it's shameful that the greatest player ever can't even be a decent GM, like just an okay GM, because he's the worst GM.
Well, see, that's the thing, though, Skip. You have to understand is that when you get into things like this, that it's just not you. See, Michael Jordan can get in the game, and he can take the game over. When Joe Gibbs started racing...